Hello everybody, it is Emery48 here and welcome back to another NCIS Saturday. Today we are continuing with NCIS, obviously, in Season 5 of the original show. And this one, it feels very complete. It's a short one. There's only 18 episodes, which is oddly short. And, I've been watching the Doctor Who's and they tend to fluctuate in episodes just because that's how British television of the 1960s kind of worked. NCIS being below 20 episodes is strange. We had one that was 2 parts that would have obviously come out in 2 separate weeks, and it was combined into 1 episode. So that puts us at only 19. And most of our others are between 22 and 25, it seems like. So to drop 3 or 4 episodes just feels weird. But this one is a very complete season. We have the full team that I feel like is what NCIS was known for. You have Gibbs, McGee really into his own, not just the probie. I mean, he still gets called it, but he's not new. Tony and Ziva, very much there. Ducky, Palmer's grown into his own, even having an episode feature him. And then, of course, Abby, Director Shepard, Jenny. We even get the introduction of Leon Vance in this episode, or in this season, who is a rather key character as the director in future seasons. And we get the finale of The Frog, La Grande Oui, and the Jean Benoit story. So we really wrap up a Tony side timeline, essentially, and get a lot of other things moving that the show in general accomplishes. I found this to be a very good season. There were multiple episodes throughout this that really tug at the emotional strings as you're watching, and there was one that was incredibly horrifying. The scare factor that I feel like, I'll compare to Doctor Who again, that you can get during certain villains. The way one of these episodes was shot, like, you were just terrified that there was always something behind them. So that was impressively well done. And not really like, I feel like normally they go with like cheesy scare factor on Halloween episodes. This was just a normal episode and they just made it creepy. And I am very impressed with that. It was well done. We get another character death in this season. Jenny Shepard leaves us at the very end. And this was another character where I didn't know how. I thought she was in the show a little bit longer. I didn't realize Leon Vance started in season 5. That's crazy to me. I did not realize he was around for that long. I thought Jenny Shepard made it more than 4 seasons, but I guess not. I knew the location she died. I didn't know when. So when I saw her and Mike Franks pull up, I was like, this is bad. This is not good. She only comes here once in the whole show. So her arriving is not good. But we'll get into the episodes now that I've given my brief reaction to the season as a whole. And a good season at that. We begin with episode 1, Bury Your Dead. It's a promising name to start a season. It really lifts you with hope. And we start with Tony's car exploding. Great. After his meeting with the Frog at the end of last season. The driver, however, was not Tony. And Tony then returns to NCIS, although they all thought that he was the one in the car. Jean now knows that Tony is NCIS, and the Frog meets Jenny and Gibbs at Jenny's house, and Jean leaves a breakup note. for Tony. The frog is then shot dead in a marina, but NCIS does not know. Episode 2, Family. There's a girl dead in a car accident, and a petty officer also dead, but he took a shotgun to the chest. The female was beaten to death before the accident, right after giving birth, and the victim was a surrogate. The true parents were found, but fled after talking with NCIS shortly, and then found. Someone else has their kid, and the killer and baby are also found. Tony then burns Jean's note, giving an end, I thought, to the Jean Benoit saga. Episode 3, X-File. There's a crossbow murder, or something similar to a crossbow at least. Gibbs's ex found a victim with the victim's wife. The victim's wife had an affair with Gibbs's ex's boyfriend. It's a crazy circle. And is killed by his partner he sold military secrets with. Episode 4, Identity Crisis. A body Ducky had for teaching has a substance leak from the brain. It is mercury. The victim is working for the FBI, and the main suspect creates new IDs for terrorists. The next buyer is a Libyan terrorist group. The victim was the suspect. Another identity. The delivery boy is the successor for the ID replacement. The true master of IDs is caught by the FBI. And he'd been training the victim and the delivery boy to kind of fill in for him, I guess. Apparently. Episode 5, Leap of Faith. Someone ready to jump off of a building, and Gibbs joins him and talks him down, but he gets sniped. The victim's wife is an undercover Al-Qaeda agent and is caught. Episode 6, Chimera. This is the episode that I said was very creepily and well done. A violent solo death on a Navy ship. It is a secret research vessel. The crew and lifeboats are gone when NCIS arrives. The body was also removed, just into the freezer. It is a viral fever. NCIS is potentially infected. One alive crew member is found going absolutely nuts. He says someone else is on the ship. The virus was injected, not airborne, so the NCIS is safe. The comms officer is behind the fake outbreak. Pirates are after the ship. NCIS swapped boats with the pirates, tricking them. They were Russian Navy, hired by the Russian Navy. U.S. Navy had a Soviet nuclear warhead. The Chimera is bombed by the U.S. to cover it up. And NCIS is fairly certain they didn't know that they were off the ship yet. Although Director Shepard did have surveillance, so she might have known. This was a great episode, though, and an uncharacteristically well-done, scary episode for NCIS. Episode 7, Requiem. Tony pulls Gibbs and a woman out of a sunken car after a gunfight. He is trying to CPR both of them. We then jump 24 hours earlier, which, now thinking back on this episode, that's a crazy thing that this was only 24 hours. Gibbs' daughter's best friend asks Gibbs for help. She gets taken by a stalker Marine. The stalker is found horizontally crucified, dead before the kidnapping. Gibbs had gotten Maddie, the friend. Gunfight he was fleeing was with the kidnappers. Tony saved both and killed the kidnappers. They were Marines who stole $4 million while in Iraq, and the stalker boyfriend had it sent to her house because he didn't have an address off base, I believe was the story. Episode 8, Designated Target. A taxi driver and high-ranking military are killed professionally. It is a rear admiral. He had a top-secret file not taken. The cab driver was the actual target, a political refugee from Burundi. 3 other suspects of similar look. three other deaths of similar look. Sorry. Killers don't know the exact target, and the one that they found was also not the correct target. The real target is saved from the killers by NCIS. Episode 9, Lost and Found. McGee brings a Boy Scout group to NCIS for a tour. A fingerprint shows one was abducted as a baby. The biological father took the boy after committing a murder, and the biological mom drowned. The dad made one phone call. That person is found stabbed. The dad was framed by a dirty cop for the original murder, and the family is reunited. Corporal punishment. Mental military hospital escape. The escaped Marine is scheduled to get an award for his service. He fights the whole team, but is captured. The Marine had been drugged with steroids for years, and he'd been doing it to himself so he could become a Marine. Episode 11, Tribes. A Muslim Marine is killed and robbed, son of a mosque religious leader. The victim was poisoned. Al-Qaeda recruiter had approached the victim, and he turned it down. 2 other Muslim Marines died the same way. Not the same way. Had the same personnel officer. The recruiter is killed by the victim's father, but NCIS does not pursue the father. Episode 12, Stakeout. McGee and Tony are testing each other's patience on a stakeout. There is a murder during it, and they are looking at a storage unit which had its camera feed hacked and looped, hiding the fact that the naval ship's radar was stolen again. They knew it was stolen and put there. They got tipped off, got stolen from under their noses. The victim tipped NCIS to the radar location. An employee had stolen from his own company because it did not work. Ducky has Abby do secretive blood work on Jenny's blood. Episode 13, Dog Tags. McGee is attacked by a dog serving a warrant where military victim is found. The military dog handler is the victim, and he'd also been bit. Cocaine found. Dog may have consumed some of the cocaine. The dog brings Abby to a skeleton-buried dog. Lead suspect is found dead. A dog handler and skeleton dog killed by the same knife, the tip of which the cocaine dog swallowed. The original victim was framed by a different Marine drug ring. McGee potentially adopts the dog that bit him. And we do actually see that dog in a picture in a future episode. So he did adopt the dog that bit him, which is a interesting turn of events. I don't know if that's how I would choose the dog that I look for. Episode 14, Internal Affairs. The FBI shuts down NCIS for investigation because the frog was murdered. Leon Vance is overseeing the FBI investigation and is the assistant director and now acting director, as Jenny has been suspended. Gibbs meets Jean, and she told FBI and Gibbs she witnessed Tony kill the frog. Jenny gets John to admit she never witnessed the murder. Court gives CIA orders that had the frog eliminated, getting them to close the investigation. This is a great wrap-up to the frog and Jean Benoit story. It was many episodes after. I knew that the fireplace scene happened with the note, but it just... If that wasn't even this episode, that was in the... What episode was that in? That was in the McGee episode with the Boy Scouts, I believe. I think that's where that happened. Or was it with the baby? No, it was the baby one. That's where it was. It was the surrogate baby story. Oh, yeah, in the second episode. So it felt like that was the end. I forgot that there was an investigation into the frog's death eventually. And I'm pretty sure that Jenny did it. But that's never explicitly proven. But it seemed pretty likely. Episode 15, In the Zone. A missile strike hits a Marine and civilians in Baghdad. Ducky discovers the Marine victim was shot. The bomb was used to blend in the sound of the shooting. Jenny is on leave and Vance is still here as acting director. Tony and Jardine are sent to Iraq. This is not Jardine's first episode, but she's kind of a not important enough character most of the time that I don't mention her otherwise. She's mildly annoying, so I don't remember her being a common fixture, so I hope this is it. The suspected shooter is... Actually, she's probably not. She's going to be in the next season, isn't she? Suspected shooter is kidnapped. Tony finds the suspect dead with no tongue. The tongueless victim's killer is back in the U.S. and caught after clearing customs. A business partner had hired the killing when a deal went south. Episode 16, Recoil. Ziva is dating a guy who has a dead woman in his living room, but she is undercover. Serial killer targeting cheating wives of Marines. Ziva's cover is blown and she has to kill him in self-defense. There is an accomplice, one victim not found. Ziva slept with possible accomplice, but then it is determined that there is no accomplice, so he is safe to be around, but leaves because he realized how suspicious she was of him, kind of ish, not really, but still yes. There was a jealous husband that copycat killed his own wife. Episode 17, About Face. Dead body at construction site, and Palmer is shot at the crime scene. Another victim is in the building's wall. The victim that originally brought NCIS to the building was killed by self-defense by a construction worker who was trying to steal copper from the construction site. And he is not the man who shot at Palmer. The second victim took identity. The victim that brought them to the building took the identity and killed the other victim in the wall. The identity thief is Yugoslavian. His brother is the accomplice, and Palmer catches him by crashing into his car while he's trying to escape. Episode 18, Judgment Day, Part 1 and Part 2. They nicely, for this, combine the two-part episode into one, and I don't know why they don't do that more often. They haven't in previous seasons of NCIS, and I took a peek into Season 6, and they don't do that for the two-parter in that one. But I appreciate it, putting it into one thing. It's not any more complicated for me to watch a two-part thing, but I like it. It's nice. It feels like I'm watching a mini movie. Like it was an hour 25 about, so that was nice. Kids discover a dead body after shooting out a pool inflatable with a BB gun. He was an NCIS agent, and Jenny returns to go to his funeral. Tony and Ziva join Jenny in LA as her escort for the funeral. Jenny then calls in Mike Franks after she overhears something at the funeral. She thinks she is the next target. Jenny and Mike head to a diner where I remembered she died at. The dead agent's girlfriend is killed after speaking to Jenny and Mike. Tony and Ziva find her at the beach. Jenny is killed in a shootout. Her and Mike combine to kill the four assailants. Jenny had essentially downed all four before dying, and Mike went in and made sure that they were dead. Finished them off with one shot each. Mike tells Gibbs everything that happened and kills the person behind everything to save Gibbs. He burns Jenny's house down with the final body. She was supposed to be killed by Jenny while they were on the op in Paris 9 years prior, but Jenny couldn't pull the trigger. And this lady came to the U.S. to get revenge for the man Gibbs did kill. Gibbs and the other agent both finished their kills and left a loose end when Jenny didn't get hers. Vance is now the new director, and he starts making changes immediately, ending Ziva's contract with NCIS, sending her back to Israel, McGee to Cyber Crimes Unit, Tony to the USS Ronald Reagan, and Gibbs is given a new team, which we don't get privy to in this, but I'm assuming we will see that at the start of Season 6. This was a tough way to end a season. Not that NCIS normally gives you easy ends to seasons. But losing Director Shepard, who I enjoyed much more in this watch through than I remember enjoying her. Just in random bits and pieces growing up. So that was an unfortunate way to lose a character. But it's an epic shootout. So yeah, that's the end of Season 5. Stick around next week. I will talk about Season 6. We are getting closer to spin-off shows of NCIS where I can actually start putting them into a ranking of which show is the best. And it's going to be very hard to topple this. We're five seasons in. Just a lot of good content so far in the original NCIS. So passing it will be difficult. Let me know your thoughts on NCIS in general, especially Season 5 mentioned for the last 20 minutes or so. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.